that I asked you guys, should I play The Last of Us Part 2? So let that question sit for a little bit as I gingerly put my coffee down. No, so here's the thing, right? I wouldn't play The Last of Us Part 2 on stream. I'm kind of pushing it a little bit with, I'll be pushing it a little bit with Batman Arkham Knight. Because that game is it gets a little edgy at times. Arkham Origins kind of did a little too. But my main thing is, and you guys let me know if you've seen this online, like this game is so stinking polarizing that you have people on one side that absolutely hate the game. Sorry, let me keep my hands in view here so we can get a good barometer. You got people over here that absolutely hate the game, right? And you got people over here that absolutely love the game. There's no in between. There's no in between. And that has me curious. That has me curious. And sometimes my curiosity gets the better of me. Like, I'll just be honest, I've spoiled the game for myself. I know all the major plot points, I know how I know how the story goes down, I know what happens to the characters and all that stuff. And based on that alone and seeing different reactions from people that I have similar interests with, people like Jeremy Johns, I don't know if you guys watch him on YouTube, he does movie reviews. PewDiePie. Who was the third guy? Tyrone Magnus is another one. All of them are like, they don't like it. They don't like it. And so I have a feeling that if I were to play it, I wouldn't like it either. But let me ask you guys this question, because this is really what it boils down to. Do you have to play a game in order to have an opinion on it? In order for you to have an opinion on a game, of whether or not you like it, do you have to actually play the game? I think you don't. But if you guys want to change my mind, you're more than welcome to. I just think as a believer, personally, wait, let me get caught up. The story in The Last of Us sounds really cool, but I imagine it's pretty heavy. It is pretty heavy. It is very heavy. Let me switch this to just chatting. Sorry guys, I put the wrong thing on here. That's what we'll title the stream this morning. Super long title. So, let's keep going. Pastor Shay says don't do it. I just think as a believer, personally, I don't know how I could subject myself to it. I've spoiled it too, and it seems to go way over the top in many areas. It does. No, that's why reviews are there. Fair enough. You said you weren't going to play it. Does that mean you're putting on your flip-flops on? I don't know. Because, I was talking to Adam about it, and we were going to, do an episode on The Last of Us Part 2 in late July, maybe early August. Depends on when him and Micah finish the game. And I was thinking of coming on the show and just talking about, I know all the spoilers, I know all the story stuff, like I can talk about that stuff adequately enough. But I thought it'd be interesting to come onto the show and be like, hey, here's why I didn't play it. That's what I was thinking of doing. Like, here's why I didn't play this game. And, I don't know, I think that would be a cool dynamic to the show. Of like, hey, these two guys did play The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't. Here's why. But I know all the story stuff, and I think I can communicate effectively on that and talk about it. Frostbite, what's up, dude? How are you? Let's get caught up on Pastor Shay. No, that's why reviews are there. You don't have to watch movies to know whether or not you would like it. Why would games be different? That's a good point. You don't have to watch a movie to know you wouldn't like it. You can read reviews and kind of read a story synopsis and be like, I don't know if I'd really be into that. Especially you can watch a trailer and get a good idea. Especially since most movie trailers now give away so much of the plot. Coolblade says, it depends. When it comes to story, I think you can see something and decide if you'd like it. But when it comes to playing a game, and if it's fun, you might have to play it. I spoiled the plot for myself and decided I didn't get it. Oh, you were good on not getting it? I think I'm tracking with you. Casa says, well, now that Frostbite's here, I'm out. Can't. Oh, man. I love how, like, Casa is, once Frostbite shows up, he's like, no, I'm going to leave. And Frostbite's over here, like, trying to hug him. Like, I love you, bro. Come here. But, yeah. See, that's the thing. I agree with Coolblaze on that. Like, you can't really speak to how the gameplay plays, right? You can probably speak to, like, does it look smooth? Does it look choppy? Does it look clunky? And that kind of stuff. I think you can have an opinion on that, but in terms of like how it feels, yeah, you can't really speak to that. But as far as the story goes, yeah, you can definitely have an opinion on that yourself, and then go from there. Casa says, I think you can have an opinion on a game without playing. I think your opinion is probably going to weigh a little less than someone who has actually played it. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Coolblade says, I decided to pass. Gotcha. Okay, so I was picking up what you were putting down. Fair enough. Casa's flip-flop. Knight says, I don't think you can speak on it as if you have played without doing so. For example, I would never say GTA 5 is a bad game because I haven't played it, but I can definitely say there's bad content based on research. I also wouldn't say GTA is a 0 out of 10 just because I don't like the direction, which I think is what a lot of people are doing with The Last of Us Part 2. Fair enough. Fair enough. And I would agree with that too. Like, that's the thing when I'm looking at these reviews and people are just giving it like 0 out of 10. I'm like, okay, you can't deny that the graphics look insanely good. You can't deny that the sound design is really good. Like, it's super detailed. The music's good, which it's a Last of Us game, so of course the music's going to be good. So you can't deny that stuff, right? The vocal performances seem solid from everything I've seen. So I wouldn't give it a 0 out of 10 based on that. Even if you didn't like the story, everybody seems to like the gameplay. Everybody seems to like the stealth mechanics. At worst, I could see people giving this maybe a 4 out of 10. And I could understand that. Maybe a 5 out of 10. But anything below that seems a little extreme to me, but hey, people are free to have their opinion. And I'm not judging. Thinking question The Last of Us 2, does gameplay supersede story as a Christian? So I decided to pass, but where does that line get drawn? Oh, you're asking someone else that. My bad. Like, it's one thing to grab the major story beats from reading or watching someone online, but appreciating a story after having spent 20 hours with these characters is going to be totally different. True. But I'm noticing a lot of people, even after 20 hours of being with this game, they're like, I hate these characters, I hate this story, I want to be done with it. Like PewDiePie, for example, he's like, because he's been streaming it on his YouTube channel, he's probably, I want to say 14 to 15 hours in, and he's over the game. He has asked multiple times, like, is this over yet? Like, when is this going to be over? And so, then you have other people that think the game's a masterpiece. I don't know. Last of Us 2 is the best guitar simulator I've ever seen. Fair enough. So all in all, I think what we've arrived at is that you don't have to play a game to have an opinion on it. But your opinion is going to weigh a little less. And there's certain things that you can speak to, like story, sound, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to actual gameplay, you can't really speak to it definitively. Is that fair? It feels like that's where we've arrived at. So all that to say, I don't know if I'm going to play the game. I don't know. I'm at a point where, like, I've heard all these opinions and I've heard people get so angry about it that I want to play the game myself, so I can be like, fine, I'm going to play the game, but like, here's my trophy list, I played the game, and I think the game's terrible. You know? But at the same time, I don't really think I have to justify myself to other people when it comes to why I'm not playing a game. You know, I don't know. Like, story beats help define a character, but so do all the moment-to-moment interactions that you'll never experience without playing it. I don't know. So I agree that the story beats definitely help define a character, because they go through some different things in whatever game, in any game you play. But I don't know that the moment-to-moment interactions matter all that much. And I say that because a lot of games, their moment-to-moment stuff doesn't really matter. It's kind of throwaway stuff, and sometimes you won't even come across it. You know? There's some things you're just going to miss. I think you've seen that with games like Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, even Doom Eternal. There's the stuff that you're going to miss along the way, and so you're not going to get as much out of it as other people might if they went the extra mile. So I think definitively as a whole, I don't know that I would necessarily agree with the moment-to-moment interaction thing. Unless there's a game that really... Well, I guess God of War utilized that really well. Because you're with Atreus the entire game. But... I don't know. There's tons of videos of people playing Johnny Cash's Hurt on The Last of Us. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that was a good icebreaker for the stream this morning. It chased away anybody that was not wanting to hear Last of Us 2 talk. That's what we do here. We talk about those topics. There are probably games where it doesn't matter, but I've heard people claim that it does matter in The Last of Us 2. Fair enough. Nah, I can't disagree with that. I haven't watched a full playthrough. I've seen chunks of playthroughs and heard reviews from other people, so yeah. I will defer to your research on that one, Casa. Rent it? Who rents games anymore? Redbox stopped doing that. If Redbox had it, I honestly would have rented it. I would have rented it. But Redbox doesn't do games anymore. I don't think there's any store around me that rents video games anymore. Which is a shame. I guess I could have Gamefly'd it. Is Gamefly still a thing? Are they even still around? Mass Effect Trilogy is one. The choices you make in each game affect the next game dramatically. True. And there is some minute-to-minute stuff that gets you more invested in certain characters. That's how I got more invested in Rex, Garrus, and Tali. Never played even a minute of either game, so I could be wrong. I'm just going based on my experience with other games and what people have said about this one. Fair enough. Yeah, you're just going with what you got. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all kind of doing that. Well, cool beans. That was a fun discussion. I'm glad I didn't get